IVM.
We'd like to thank Storytel for sponsoring this show. Storytel is an audiobook platform that allows you to listen to audiobooks wherever you are, on your mobile, on your PC, wherever you want to listen to them. You can get a great deal at storytel.com/IVM. This week I'm going to recommend The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. It's one of the most famous books that I've seen. It's at all the bookstores, but it's such a beautiful read. If you haven't read it, do give it up. It's about the story of Afghanistan between the end of the monarchy to up until about 2000 or so, just post 9/11. Really, really interesting stuff. Give it a listen. It's just a great book. You can go get it at storytel.com/IVM. When you go and sign up at this link, you'll get the first month for just 99 rupees instead of 299. That's 200 rupees off. Go check it out, storytel.com/IVM.
Hello one, hello all. Welcome to the Diary of the Traveling Professor. And I'm in London right now, just about to get going to India. So the next podcast that I will be doing will be from India. So this is the Traveling Professor saying that this is my last podcast from London for a few months, back to India. And this is me looking at snow, because this week has been a bit snowy in London. So it's a pleasant change from all that rain. And I just realized that even though, it's water falling from the sky in one form or the other, you have to have different responses to snow as to rain. I mean, rain, you just wear different clothes and stuff like that, and all the stuff that seems obvious, to somebody who's just listening to this, and saying, what the hell is he on about? But trust me, context does make a difference. And this podcast diary entry of mine is about context and how it makes a difference. We were in a situation pre-pandemic wherein, we had a certain kind of culture for each organization. Now, each organization, if I have to believe behavioral biologists, is an extended phenotype. Now, what do I mean by an extended phenotype? It means that whatever is in our collective gene pool is being expressed in all the institutions and artifacts that you see in the external world. Whoa, that's a little deep, but just have a think about it. Your organization is exactly the blueprint that all of you are making that organization to be. And this served us well. So there's a certain kind of culture, there's a certain kind of tribe, there's a certain kind of belief system, set of values that all of the people working in an organization actually ascribe to. And some of it was to actually, gather around in a tribe and have your rituals. They might include coffee meetings, and they might include get-togethers and stuff like that. Now, here's the interesting thing. We have moved away from this kind of culture. All of the organizations, in fact, have moved from this kind of culture into something completely different. And that is what this diary entry is about. So what is the change that I'm talking about? The change that I'm talking about is that we have always been in a culture wherein we have had close interaction and collaboration with people. We've had meetings and coffee discussions and so on and so forth. So it was a different kind of vibe, a different kind of value system, a different kind of overall situation that we found ourselves in, which was quite tribal by nature. Now suddenly move that to Zoom meetings, and not just Zoom meetings, but the isolation that we all feel when we are separated from the tribe. So what have organizations done? Organizations have tried to recreate that feeling of being in a tribe through, Zoom celebrations, Zoom parties, Zoom events, and all the rest of it. But hey, it's still Zoom. And the fact is that it's not going to be the way in which it was earlier. And I really doubt that we are going to go back to a place wherein we are still going to actually experience the organization of the past. Now, this is something really interesting because it allows us to kind of ditch the old rituals because they are not going to make sense for us anymore. And that's why, by the way, those Zoom things actually end up sucking big time. So unless and until we find ourselves completely, back to normalcy, which I doubt very much, we are going to have to live with a new value system that allows for us to feel isolated as individuals and find newer ways of collaborating with other isolated individuals like us without the requirement of it being, the tribal rah-rah feeling. Now that actually ends up meaning that we are going to have a new value system. Our so-called extended phenotype, our organization is going to be different from our collective experiences. Now, this is not necessarily a bad thing because it allows for completely new structures to be built as organizational designs. And the strategies that every organization can have can be completely separated from what worked for them in the past. So anybody listening out there, especially in a position of power or maybe in a position of influence, who is trying to do something on, trying to recreate the cultures of the past, perhaps it's time to give that a break and reconsider the way in which you look at an organization and perhaps build an organization for the future, creating new circumstances, new rituals, new contexts, new beliefs, and new value systems. Right? Now, this might mean that we need to just rethink the way in which we connect and collaborate and make peace with that and actually thrive from that. This thought was inspired by a very dear friend and colleague of mine, Jaya Deshmukh. So shout out to you, Jaya. And it is going to be really interesting to observe the way in which the world moves ahead based upon this new reality. But hey, Zoom events, they suck. Whatever you want to call it, right? And on that happy note, do take a look at The Traveling Professor Investigates. It's a video series that I'm doing, which is quite different. It kind of caters to a lot of different sort of trends that are happening. It's a video series, so I've looked at anime, I've looked at cancel culture, I've looked at the allure of esports and the rest of it. If you like podcasts like these, do go to ivmpodcast.com though, and or download the app, or wherever you go to listen to your favorite podcasts, you'll find IVM Podcasts right there. Want to follow me? Go find The Traveling Professor on Instagram or on LinkedIn. And until next time, when I speak from India.
I hope you enjoyed that show. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'd like to thank the sponsors on the network this week, Storytel and The Whole Truth Foods. Thank you for supporting us. We have a new show out this week, Candid Kannan with Siddharth Kannan. Sid K is a well-known RJ. He has an incredible show with some of the most amazing Bollywood celebrities. As part of the first week's episode, we're releasing 5 episodes at one time, so you can get your fill of Sid. You can hear him talk to Varun Dhawan, Anil Kapoor, Anurag Kashyap, Bhumi Pednekar, and a whole lot more. This week on the Edges and Sledges podcast with Varun, DJ, and Ashwin, hear them talk about the historic victory that India achieved at Gaba. Maruk Inayat had an amazing talk with Gul Panag. They spoke about the farmer protests and why Bollywood celebs are acting the way that they are. And finally, Shunya 1 is back this week. Shiladitya and me talked to Anirudh Singla from Pepper Content. We have a great lineup of guests coming up in the coming weeks, including Deepak Abid, the co-founder of India Gold. Definitely check that out. And with that, I hope to see you again next week.
If you love cricket, listen up. The Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast is here for you. Hosted by DJ, Varun, and me, Ashwin, we bring a fun, fresh fan's point of view to talking all things cricket. Sometimes it's just the three of us, sometimes we have guests, including current and former international cricketers. For new episodes every week, check out the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast on the IBM app, website, or wherever you get your podcasts.